Well, my name is Ash Dellinger. I am the founder of Get Iggy. Prior to Iggy, my career was this the past 5 years in executive leadership for software companies. I was executive vice president of sales and marketing for a freight finance company that did about $500 million a year in revenue, and vice president of solutions engineering for a logistics software company out of Orlando, Florida. Decade before that, spent my time half selling digital marketing campaigns to car dealers and the other half creating campaigns for names you would know like Nike, Disney, Best Western, Amazon, some of those. And that has absolutely nothing to do with anything that we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to walk you through a little bit of a journey of how Get Iggy started, and then talk about the problem that we're solving and how we're going to solve it. So I need you to pretend to be this couple. You're really excited. You found your dream home at $600,000. You've saved your $120,000 for your down payment. The bank's approved. Your home inspection's going great. Your appraisal's there. This is the dream. This is the American dream. If we get to live it, got that house. And then 2 months later, this happens. You're going, what in the world just happened? Now, this guy's standing in your yard and he wants $35,000 to fix what's wrong, and no, homeowner's insurance is not going to cover it. You remember this guy? Your home inspector. He failed to tell you that the roof is missing flashing, and now there's mold and moisture in the crawl space, and you need a new roof. And no, homeowner's insurance won't cover it. Did he know what he was doing? Probably not. 20 states don't even have state licensing requirements for home inspectors. And the ones that do, North Carolina actually does have one, but some of them, you can be a home inspector within about a 4-hour online course in one day. So most people that find themselves in this situation start going, they've got to be able to have a claim against this home inspector, right? Like, do I sue him? Like, most people aren't sue happy, but when you find out you have $35,000 problems, I've seen them as high as $350,000 problems, and inspectors just grossly missed. So can you sue him? Here are the insurance requirements in the US. Only 25 states require home inspectors to carry insurance at all. And of those, only 17 require for them to carry yours and emissions insurance, which is what would happen if somebody didn't tell you that your roof was missing flashing. So no, really not a lot that you can do. So congratulations, you got a $35,000 bill, while real estate agents each make $18,000 in commissions. The home inspector got $500. The bank's getting $3,000 a month for life. You get a bill. There's nothing you can do about it. So meet Iggy. This is Iggy. Iggy's outraged that this happened to his mom. I'm Iggy's mom. And on his watch, it's never going to happen again. So talk a little bit about Iggy. That really is my story. It's very similar. It's tweaked a little bit, but bought a home moving from California to North Carolina. The roof was missing flashing. And it was a problem that I had to fix, and there was nothing I could do about it. So problem A, we just talked about. Home inspector licensing varied by state, insurance requirements. Problem B is actually additionally that residential real estate transactions rely heavily on a model that's broken. Buyers have already invested significant time and money into the process by the time they get to that piece of the home inspection. There is something incredibly backwards that somebody says, I have a $600,000 house for sale. You say, I want to buy it for $600. And they say, okay, great, that's a deal. And they say, what's wrong with it? And I say, I don't know, you pay $500 and find out. And then if you back out, I'm going to keep your due diligence money too. That same model handcuffs sellers, taking on average $14,000 in the offer price negotiations. That's what is typically negotiated. And you won't see that. Somebody will always say, well, every house in my neighborhood's going really fast. It still looks like it did. They're putting that in the form of a buyer credit. So you don't see that that house is not actually selling for that price. It still shows on Zillow and all of those listings like it sold for the million or whatever. This is a single point of failure model that we're allowing one person who may or may not be licensed and might be taking kickbacks from his real estate agent, because 90% of inspector business comes from agents who stand to make a commission. None of that makes sense. So how does Get Iggy fix this? We're going to start by flipping the home selling model. Typically, you decide to sell your home, you pick an agent, you list your house, you get an offer, the buyer gets an inspection, and then everything kind of goes to hell in a handbasket. We don't know, they could back out, then your home is back on the market, they could ask for negotiations. Now the seller's losing, like I said, on average, $14,000. All kinds of bad things can happen. Good things can happen too. Just go great and smooth, doesn't always though. So we want to move the inspection from here to here. We have the seller to pay for the inspection and disclose it up front. We have certified pre-owned cars. We have Carfax for used cars. We have lemon laws for cars that protect consumers. Nothing to protect them on their home. So we want every house to be Iggy inspected. We don't want anyone to ever buy or sell a home again without asking, did you get Iggy on it? So the solution here is that Iggy's going to book inspections for our customers. Sellers come to getiggy.com, they book an inspection. We use smart matching logic to choose the best inspector, freeing up that inspector to do the best quality job that they can, because they don't have to worry if their agent's not going to send them any more referrals because they're a deal killer. So it's kind of like Carfax for residential real estate meets the Twitter blue check mark for home listings. And we, Iggy, as a third party, are ensuring that inspection itself for $2 million. Our inspectors are so good that we're willing to take that risk. And we're going to ensure it. You cannot pay to be an inspector in the Iggy network. It's not an Angie's List. It's not a pay per lead model. It's not a revenue share model. Now you can scroll through your Zillow and you can see homes that have Iggy on. That's not really on Zillow. What we're trying to do is eliminate buyer inspection fees, increase seller prices on their home, encourage more aggressive offers, decrease time on the market, and reduce buyer backouts. And what happens in the scenario that you list your home for $600,000 and somebody comes in and gets their inspector on the buyer side and it says if you listed it for 600, I offered you 600. It needs a new roof. Now I only want to pay you $575. If they had Iggy on it, they would be saying, and if you already knew that the roof was bad, I still want $600,000. Accepting the offer should be the end of where real estate negotiations stop. There's just too much cloud and darkness in how we're getting there and everything else that happens. There's no transparency. As everybody says they want transparency and visibility, and there's none. So you're probably thinking, oh, that won't work because the buyer's still going to want their own seller's inspection. Their own inspection, not the one for the sellers. But don't you buy things from sellers you don't know on Amazon? Yes, because you trust Amazon. So by putting Iggy as the middleman, you're now able to create this brand trust with Iggy. You have a problem with an inspector or anything else that happens, you call Iggy, we handle it. If your home has a problem with it after our inspector said there was flashing on the roof, you file a claim against Iggy. Iggy handles it. You don't have to chase down fly-by-night home services. So now you can get any inspection. Home inspections are a $5 billion annual industry and no one has significant market share in any of it. So we aggregate the network of inspectors. We use smart matching to get to them. We also implement standardized reporting. Every inspection gets infrared thermal imaging for moisture. They get drone shots for aerial footage of roofs. They get all of these different photos. And then when that inspection is completed, the inspector still goes through it with the buyer, seller, whomever, like they normally would. So they upload it to Iggy headquarters, where we have a secondary team of licensed home inspectors in-house that will QA the report. If they have any questions, they talk to the inspector, and then we issue the report with its certification, and we allow that certification to be transferred to the seller. It still works on the buyer side. You can still get buyer Iggy inspection if you want, it's still insured, but we like the seller model. Just a couple of different ways that Iggy inspectors are different. Most home inspectors answer to no one. If they don't do a bad job, nothing happens. They answer to Iggy, and the reason that they will be willing to do it is because an Iggy inspection costs double. And so if the average home inspection is $500, Iggy's is $1,000, but we are passing through $750 of that to the inspector. They are incentivized to do great work because they are in a physically capped week. They can only do max 10 inspections a week. Those are $500 each. The most they can make in a week is $5,000. They did 10 Iggy inspections, they can make $7,500. That's the revenue model. I will pause there. I'm probably close on my 6 minutes, but I figured some of these I left them in here anyway because I thought there might be questions.